Welcome to the guide on how to craft the best bow with Hunter influence for Essence Drain, Bane and similar builds. I explained two methods. The result is the same, it is up to you which method you will use. The main difference is in the base for the crafting. After you finish crafting, your bow will have these mods. Now here are the short notes for this crafting. And let's start with the first method. First, you will need to get the base for the crafting. So, on official Path of Exile trade page, select bow, also any non-unique. Next, in miscellaneous, select not corrupted, mirrored, synthesized, or fractured. Where is the fractures? Here is the fracture. And the minimum item level you need for this crafting is 82. Also, you need to select your dexterity maximum requirements for the build you play. In my case, I play Occultist Bane, and for me, this is around 135 for my build. Also, on Path of Exile wiki page, you can see the list of all possible bases and dexterity requirements and what implicit they have. Okay, so also for this first method, you need bow without any influence. So in stat filters, influence, has influence, now select not. That is very important. So you want for first method bow without any influence. Now let's search and you can see prices are very cheap without 6 link. Now you can 6 link your bow yourself, or you can search for already bow with 6 links and socket 6 links. Let's see. You can see you can find already at 10 chaos depending on the base. Now also very important, uh, if the bow has reduced attribute requirements, the bows with higher dexterity requirement will be listed in your search. So to avoid that, you can add another mod, increase attributes, increase attributes. Also not, now you will not get listed those bows with higher dexterity requirement. Also, for my build, one of the best bases is reflex bow, and he is a bit more expensive. It is random. Sometimes it will cost you more to 6 link yourself than to buy already 6 link bow. After you get your base, it is time to start crafting. I explain everything on Craft of Exile website. So here, select create new item, two-handed weapons, bow, pick your base, reflex. Let's say I got 84 item level. And here is the bow. Before you start crafting, there is one optional thing. If you have expensive 6 link bow, which is not already split, doesn't have split tech, at this point, before you start crafting, you can split that 6 link bow and sell one copy and one copy use for crafting. And if you split the bow, you cannot use imprint, also worth mentioning. That is just some optional thing you can do. So in case your bow was rare, use Orb of Scouring, make it white. Now use Transportation, make it magic. Your goal is to hit with alterations, damage or time multiplier. And in this step, your goal is to have a rare bow with just one mod, tier 1 to damage or time multiplier. That is goal for the next step. Also okay, if you're extremely lucky, is to have a rare bow with 2 mods where the second mod prefix is +1 to level of socket gems. I just mentioned this in case you get lucky. So how to get this rare bow with just one mod? So you use alterations and you need to hit that tier 1 damage over time multiplier. And the chance to hit this mod is 1 in 250 alterations. That is good to know. So you can plan how much currency on average you will need to craft this bow. Also, worth mentioning, if you get +1 to level of socket gem on your magic bow, it is okay to use regal and try to hit damage over time multiplier mod with regal. If you get lucky, there is a chance to save one exalted orb. But in most cases, you will just hit damage over time multiplier on your magic bow. And now you need to use regal. But before you use regal, do not forget, there is one optional thing you can do. You can imprint this magic bow in case later you get unlucky. So it is up to you. This is optional. Imprint is not a must. Imprint just saves you time, and so if you get unlucky later on, you don't need to use alterations again. So let's make that imprint. You do imprint with beast crafting, and you got this item which you can use to get this magic bow back. So that is optional thing. Now when you have tier 1 to damage over time multiplier, you need to use regal. You have 3 mods. Now, as you remember, goal is to have just damage over time. Now you need to use or annulment, orb of annulment, and remove a random mod. I was lucky with first, and the second, you see, I removed our main mod damage over time multiplier. If you don't have imprint, now you would need to make it bow white and start with alterations again until you hit damage over time multiplier. But if you did imprint, now you can use imprint and return get your magic bow back with damage over time multiplier. Now, before you again use regal, use another imprint. Where is the beast? Here is the beast. So imprint. In case you get unlucky and again remove damage over time multiplier. So use regal. Now use orb of annulment. Come on. Now now it's everything okay. So this is the first step in this crafting. Now for the next step, it is time to use your crafting bench. And the first mod you need to add is uh, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. And the second mod you need to add is cannot roll attack modifiers. Now your bow has 3 suffixes, and it is time to use Hunter Exalted Orb. With Hunter Exalted Orb, you will add Hunter Influence, and the only mod you can hit with Hunter Exalted Orb is increase chaos damage over time. It can be tier 1 up to tier 4. So let's use Hunter Exalted Orb. As you can see, I hit tier 4 increase chaos damage over time. Now you can proceed and finish the bow with this tier 4 chaos damage over time, or there is optional thing you can reroll and try to hit better tier for this mod. In case you want to reroll and try to hit tier 1 or maybe tier 2, there's 2 options. You can use your crafting bench, first option, and add suffixes cannot be changed. Now you can use scouring and remove that bad tier for chaos damage over time. Now you need to use normal exalted orb. As you can see, the only 2 mods you can hit with exalted orb are +1 to level of socketed gems, and increase chaos damage over time. So for this reroll, you can need to spend either 3 or 4 exalted orbs, which can be very expensive. Chance to hit this tier 1 is 10%. To hit tier 2 is 20%. So total 30% chance to hit either tier 1 or tier 2, and it can be very expensive if you get unlucky. Also, the second option to reroll this chaos damage over time is to use harvest, and the recipe is called reforge a rare item keeping suffixes. This way you keep all your good 3 suffixes and reroll this chaos damage over time. As you can see, I hit increased chaos damage tier 3. Also, with harvest, you can hit the second possible mod +1 to level of socketed gems. And as you can see, it can take lots of harvest recipes to hit tier 1. Let's see, tier 1, tier 2 so far, and here is the tier 1. If you need to pay for this harvest recipe, it also can be very expensive. But that is all optional. You can proceed after the first time you use Hunter Exalted Orb, you can proceed for the crafting. To proceed, you just need to use now normal Exalted Orb. The only mod you can hit is +1 to level of socketed gems. At this point, you need to use your bench and remove crafted modifiers. For some reason, I cannot find that option on this website, so be sure to use your crafting bench and remove these crafted mods. Now, to finish the bow, you need to craft again. Suffix can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. The second uh, uh, mod with crafting bench is suffix chaos damage over time. Call fire. Where is chaos damage over time? Here it is. And the last mod is prefix with your bench, and that is +2 to level of socketed support gems. And this is how your finished bow need to look. Need to have 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes, chaos damage over time, +1 to level of socketed gems, there is third prefix, +2 to level of socketed support, and these 3 suffixes. This is the first method for crafting this bow when you use normal base without Hunter influence, and you get Hunter influence with Hunter Exalted Orb. For the second method, you need to use base with Hunter influence. So install filters, write Hunter has Hunter influence. Rest stays the same, and let's search. You can see there are some cheap without 6 links bows with, which already has Hunter influence. Be sure that your bow has only Hunter influence. Don't buy bow with second influence. Any other second influence is not good. So only with Hunter. And the only difference in crafting at this point, when you have 3 suffixes and you need to use Hunter Exalted Orb, in this case, you don't need to use Hunter Exalted Orb because your bow already has Hunter influence. You can use normal Exalted Orb, and the only 2 mods you can hit are increase chaos damage over time and +1 to level of socketed gems. Also, one important thing which I forgot in first method, let's see, instead of using normal Exalted Orb, every time you need to use normal Exalted Orb, instead of normal Exalted Orb, you can use Syndicate Leo rank 3 crafting bench inside Research Safe House. That bench has the same function as Exalted Orb. This way you can save some currency. Here is the bow I crafted for my occultist Bane build. As you can see, I also added harvest recipe. Quality does not increase physical damage, grants 1% increase area effect. This is small buff and it is optional. If you have any questions about this crafting, you can leave them in comments or join my Discord server and send me a direct message. This will be all for now. Thanks for watching and see you next time.